Hey, family, it's Zach from Firm Foundation Recovery, and we're getting into step one today. But I wanted to break down a little bit of my past and talk a little bit about what it was like for me in the beginning of my addiction before I came into a 12-step fellowship and treatment. I knew my life was unmanageable long time before I came into the rooms. I didn't know what I was powerless over. I just knew externally things had fell apart, and not only did I hurt myself, I hurt everybody around me. Everybody's heard that story. But the internal unmanageability I felt, the shame that I felt deep down inside that I was a mistake, that, God had long forgot about me. I wasn't good enough. He couldn't bring me back, that somehow I had to try to figure out how to do it. And I had done that for a long time. Our first step in our fellowship, it says we admitted that we're powerless over the effects from our separation from God, and that our life had become unmanageable. In other fellowships, it says alcohol, it says a substance. And sometimes the enemy is so powerful, he'll trick us to look at differences and compare out of fellowships. But those words don't really mean anything. It points to our effects. And what our effects are is our behavior, our survival behavior that in adulthood are really ineffective. I don't know about anybody else, but my childhood, it took me a long time to talk about what caused my survival behavior. What caused me to go to something that wasn't what God had for me. To live away as an adult, a teenager, adult, and where I needed to go to substances to feel better. And inside, I always felt out of place. You will hear things in the rooms like I had an itchy sweater on. I always felt out of place. I didn't fit in. And that's further confirmation of survival behavior, that's not our identity. And when I came into the rooms, through Gateway Foundation, I was in shame, deep condemnation. I was so pissed off at myself, and thought I knew a lot of things, but I definitely felt that internal separation, and that drove me. They handed me step work and they said, get into it, and I got into it right away. My understanding back then was not what it is today, but we're wired in such a way that we have something inside of us. And in the beginning, it's the hardest thing to understand, that there's something inside of us that was planted there a long time ago, our real identity, not something we're not in survival and chasing after things to feel better. That's not what God wants for any of us. That's not God's will for me, and it never was. He definitely has better for us. So when I felt that brokenness, in Romans 7:18, it says, I know nothing good lives in me that's in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I can't carry it out. I always had the desire to change. I had the desire to do something different. And I ran to locations, people, things to feel better. But I couldn't do it living a lie. I had to submit, I had to surrender. And I definitely, had to know, admit, and accept that no matter what I tried to do, I messed my own life up because I didn't know who I was. And that's scary, but if it wasn't for the internal unmanageability through living a life of survival apart, I would have never got the blessing of surrender and a recovery process where I am today. So if you're out there and you're struggling and you continue to feel bad about yourself or, hurt yourself and you doubt what a 12-step fellowship can do, a relationship with God can do through the principles, all I have to tell you is that there's something good in you and that there's hope. There's another way, but the only way you open the door through hope, faith, courage to walk in what you are and get healing is to admit full defeat. Victory is through surrender. Surrender an identity who you think you are. It's not who you are. We wouldn't get the rotten fruit if it was who we are. God is so good. He's going to draw us back in. And till next time, love you guys. See you later.